drank a bottle of wine every single day for over 15 years, and yet I never missed a beat. I got more done before lunch than most people do in a week, even when I was hungover. In this video, I will explain exactly what I was doing wrong and how I went from being a high functioning alcoholic to being somebody who actually prefers drinking in moderation, which means I don't need willpower to control myself any more than I need willpower to not hit myself in the head with a hammer. By the way, I'm Colleen, and I'm a mindful drinking coach, and I've helped thousands of very successful, high achieving professional women reduce their drinking by about 80% using my emotional sobriety methods. I help women change their relationship with themselves so they don't have to worry about their relationship with alcohol. I used to wake up every single day and promise myself that I wasn't going to do it again. But by the time I ran the marathon that was my life, saying no when it came time for happy hour felt like a punishment that I didn't deserve. And this was so frustrating because I had so much willpower and discipline in every other area of my life. But one time, I actually did stay sober for almost an entire week, kind of on accident. My youngest daughter had gone to live with her dad for the school year, and it was about a 2-hour drive away. And the first time she came to visit for a weekend, I hadn't seen her in almost a month. And I really wanted to have a special weekend. I wanted to stay present. So I decided to just not drink. And we had a great time, just the two of us. The weekend was really special. It felt so good that when she left, I wanted to keep it going, just in case she called me during the middle of the week when she was at her dad's and she wanted to talk. I didn't want to be drunk or passed out. But by the time the next weekend came around, my then husband and I had planned a trip to Napa. And even though I was enjoying taking a break from alcohol, I didn't want him to know that. Alcohol use disorder really is a thinking problem, not a drinking problem. And I seriously thought that not drinking in Napa was the same as confessing that I was an alcoholic. I thought if I didn't drink, that meant I was admitting that I couldn't handle it. And I didn't want to do that. But I actually did quite a very good job controlling myself in Napa. I didn't overdo it. I never got drunk. But by the time we got back home, my motivation to keep going, not drinking during the week, was completely gone. And within a few days, I was back to drinking a bottle of wine every single night like I always had. And sadly, it would be 3 more years before I'd ever fall asleep again sober. But I see now exactly why that happened. It wasn't that I couldn't take a night or two off or even a week off because I had just done it. It was easy. I enjoyed it. Problem was that I didn't think I could keep it up. I didn't even know if I wanted to keep it up. By the time we got back from Napa, I felt so much pressure. The promises that I had been making to myself that I was going to stop with the daily drinking felt like a noose around my neck because my brain had been collecting evidence for over 2 decades that I wasn't the type of person who was going to keep my promises when it came to alcohol. And it felt absolutely ridiculous and unrealistic to think that having one easy week of sobriety really meant that I had changed. And that's the crux of alcohol use disorder. Again, it's a thinking problem, not actually a drinking problem. You're stuck in a negative feedback loop. You think that because you have failed to follow through in the past, that means you're not going to follow through in the future. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And meanwhile, you are ignoring all of the evidence that you actually do want to change. In fact, the evidence that shows you're already kind of changing. You can't see that because you're literally facing the wrong direction. You're looking backwards instead of forwards. So let me explain a little bit about how the brain works. I want to talk about your default mode network and your reticular activating system. Your default mode network is the area of the brain that is active when your mind is wandering, when you're daydreaming, when you're ruminating, when you're thinking or worrying, when you're not focused on things out there. Your mind is just busy in the background. Your default mode network is part of your subconscious mind. It is a library of everything that has ever happened to you. It's also a pattern finder. It contains the code for all the patterns that you have ever detected in the past. And those patterns have caused you to form beliefs about yourself, beliefs about the world, about how things work and what things mean. Now, your reticular activating system is your focus. It filters what is allowed to come into your conscious mind. You see, you are exposed to millions of bits of sensory information like every second, but you can only pay attention to a few things at a time. So your reticular activating system tells you what to pay attention to, and it alerts you to patterns that feel important to you. And negative patterns get a lot more of your attention than positive patterns. Obviously, that's a survival mechanism, which is why, even though I felt really good about staying sober for a week and drinking like a normal person in Napa, I was overwhelmed by the negative thoughts and feelings that were telling me I wasn't going to be able to keep it up. So you need to understand that your thoughts are habits too. 95% of everything you think is the same shit you thought yesterday. And before you can change your drinking habits, you have to change the thinking habits that is driving your drinking behavior. It's pretty simple. It's just not easy. Your subconscious mind learns by repetition. Your beliefs aren't true. They're just familiar. They're the same things that you've thought over and over again. A belief is just a thought you no longer question because you've accepted it as true. Once you hear something enough, once you think something enough, it feels true because it's so familiar. And once you accept a belief or a thought or an idea as true, you connect with it emotionally. It sounds true and it feels true, and it gets encoded into your subconscious, your body. Your body is your subconscious mind. It's where your memories are stored. And that's why change is so uncomfortable, because you have to go against the feelings in your own body. It's not actually hard to drink less or to stay sober. What's hard is paying attention to yourself and staying present with your emotions long enough to feel them and then know what they're telling you and then do some form of the opposite. You just need to understand that you think however you feel, and you feel whatever you think. The good news and the bad news is that your mind changes every time your mood changes. That's why you can't just change your mind up here like, oh, I'm just going to start drinking like a normal person, and then expect to feel certain and confident about that forever. Certainty and confidence are feelings, not facts. And you can't remove your feelings intellectually. Doubt, fear, shame, and insecurity are feelings that live in your body, not your conscious mind. And you're in the habit of thinking doubtful, fearful, shameful, and insecure thoughts. Remember, thoughts are habits too. And habits are just what you do on autopilot, on automatic. When your reticular activating system alerts you to the fact that there's a problem, your nervous system has detected a pattern, you have to understand that the real problem is your perception of that problem. It's your default mode network. It's the old way of thinking. It's the shitty story you've been telling yourself. And here's how you do that. You take control of your reticular activating system. You just have to start looking for evidence that what you want is not only possible, but already happening. You can just literally ask your brain to show you evidence for whatever you think you want. And here's the beautiful thing. It will. Your brain is your personal assistant. It will help you get whatever you think you want. You just have to tell it what you want. So let me show you how this works with a very simple example. When I was drinking every day, I thought that I had an addictive personality. And so my brain was always showing me evidence that I do indeed have an addictive personality. Every time I overdid it when I drank, I thought, yep, there I go again. Once I start, I can't stop. The reality is that there's no such thing as an addictive personality. Literally Google it. Even addiction experts agree that is a made up thing. The reality is that ain't nobody got time to be addicted to everything. So I decided to ask my brain to show me evidence that I actually have a less is more personality instead of an addictive personality. And what do you know? There was lots of evidence for that. There's times when I just eat the small cookie or watch one episode instead of binging the whole season. Sometimes I order a small coffee and only drink half of it because I'm a less is more person. Try it for yourself right now. I want you to ask your brain to show you evidence of all the times that you actually do keep your drinking in check. You probably don't get really drunk and drive. You're not drinking when you go to work. You're perfectly capable of controlling yourself around people that you want to impress. You quit drinking and go to bed early because you're tired or you just have to get up early. Trust me when I say that if you are a high functioning, professional, successful person, you have tons of evidence that you actually are very capable of drinking in moderation. And here's the deal. What you pay attention to grows, and what you neglect dies. You just have to learn to shift your focus away from what you don't want and what feels bad or hard or complicated. Shift your focus to what you do want and what feels easy and good and liberating about that. This is how you retrain your brain and reprogram your subconscious. You just have to start asking yourself better questions. And then you have to feel the answers to those better questions. And you have to do that 1,000 times, sometimes in a day. Again, I said this is simple, not easy, because negative emotions suck you in like a goddamn black hole. Your thoughts are like a magnet. And when you think bad, you feel bad. And when you feel bad, you think bad. You have to learn how to break the loop. You have to learn how to wake yourself up from the bad dream. And the first thing you have to do, I like that analogy, is that you have to tend to your body like a little kid that has just woken up from a nightmare. Just like you can't explain to a child that the dream wasn't real, you can't tell your body that your own feelings aren't real. They are real. And so the first thing you have to do is offer comfort and support and stop arguing that you shouldn't feel that way. You do feel that way. So you say, shh, it's okay. I see you. I feel you. I'm here with you. I'm not going to abandon you. Not abandoning yourself means staying present in your body instead of escaping up into your head to go into the story to try to think your way out of the thinking problem. That doesn't work. You have to go through the feelings, allow the feelings to be there, and then disconnect the feelings from the story and just deal with the energy in your body. You can't just switch from negative thinking to positive thinking. It's just like the gears in a car. You can't go from reverse going 40 miles an hour to going 40 miles an hour in forward motion. You can't go from reverse to forward. You have to come to a stop. You can't just go from intense negative feelings to intense positive feelings because you don't want to feel that way anymore. That's not how it works. You have to learn how to feel your feelings without letting them consume you. And the good news is that most of your feelings don't actually hurt worse than a paper cut. You can tolerate the sensation in your body once you learn how to respond to it with acceptance instead of resistance. You have to learn how to let the sensations in your body just be. They will pass through you. They are just waves of energy. All you have to do is stop letting your brain pour fuel on the fire of your shitty stories. Then, once you feel safe, once you've completed the stress response and brought your body back into a parasympathetic state where you feel calm and safe and alert and connected with yourself, because your mind cannot do mindset work when your body is dysregulated, when your nervous system is in a state of stress. When you are in a state of stress, your mind is closed. So you have to go into your body, process the sensations. That's how you open your mind to receive new information. You can't think new thoughts when you're stuck in the old feelings. Well, you might be able to think them, but you won't be able to feel them. And you can only recode your subconscious mind through felt experiences. Your neural networks are actually paved with emotion. And if you want to think positive as a matter of default, as a matter of habit, then you have to feel positive first. This is energetic alignment. And here's the beautiful hack. When your mind and body are on the same page, you unlock all of the energy and motivation that you need to move forward, because you're no longer draining your mental and emotional resources fighting against yourself. A house divided cannot stand. So this is the work that you have to do to go from being a functional alcoholic to being somebody who prefers drinking in moderation. You have to learn how to process your emotions energetically, so that you no longer need to escape your own body, your own self, your own mind. You have to become safe with yourself. You have to know how to use your brain to work for you instead of against you. You have to trust yourself, not to behave perfectly, but to be able to learn from every experience, including your mistakes, because it's not actually your mistakes that you fear. It's how you'll feel about yourself when you make a mistake. But when you do the work to heal your relationship with yourself, when you learn how to be your own safe place, no matter what is happening, you will simply not have to worry about your relationship with alcohol anymore. So, if any of my story sounded like yours, if you are disciplined in every area of your life except when it comes to drinking, if you've promised yourself 1,000 times, never again, and then done it again 1,000 times, then I want you to know something. You're not weak and you're not broken. It's just that nobody ever taught you how to work with your brain and body instead of against them. And that is exactly what we do inside my program. I help high achieving women go from being stuck in that all or nothing over drinking cycle to being able to drink in moderation in a way that feels effortless, where alcohol becomes a pleasure again instead of the source of all of your problems. Because when you do the work to heal your relationship with yourself, you no longer have any desire or need to use alcohol as a way to escape or numb or avoid your life. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you're ready to see what's possible, I want to invite you to book a discovery call with either me or someone on my team. The call is free. And it's a two-way interview. No pressure to join my program. We don't even invite everybody to join the program. But by the end of that call, you will walk away knowing where you're at, where you want to be, and the steps that you need to take to get there. If you're the type of woman who takes yourself and your life seriously and you're ready to do the work, the link's in the show notes.